Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for December 31, 2021. Yes, this is the final Daily Compliance News for 2021, the Fog Ahead edition. And we begin with that story from the Wall Street Journal. Risk and Compliance Journal, Mingy Sun reporting that cryptocurrency CCO Elena Hughes, CCO at cryptocurrency exchange Gemini Trust, says that opaque regulations remain a top challenge for the cryptocurrency industry, creating a fog ahead, so they're not quite sure which way to go. She said that navigating the evolving regulatory landscape to process financial firms implementing the Bank Secrecy Act as amended by the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2020 is very challenging in the crypto space. Next up, also from the Wall Street Journal, Deutsche Bank was fined for weak controls on rate data by the German regulator BaFin. Deutsche Bank did not have in place effective preventive controls, systems, and policies to ensure the integrity and reliability of all contributions of input data to the administrator. The weakness found by BaFin related to Euribor submissions in the 2019-2020 time period. Deutsche Bank said it had no indication it actually submitted any incorrect data, but that it was taking measures to improve the controls. $10 million for fine for Deutsche Bank is not even a drop of sweat for those people, perhaps one of the most corrupt banks there is. Next up, from Reuters, a very interesting article on 4 rulings by the Delaware Supreme Court, which will affect derivative lawsuit standards, shareholder rights, and activism. The Brookfield decision overturned a 2006 precedent, which claimed that an overpayment or deleted shareholder value can only be brought on behalf of the company by shareholders, not as a direct claim. The Zuckerberg ruling, the court adopted a 3-part test for shareholder derivative lawsuits to determine whether a company's board members are impartial enough to bring the suit. In the Authentinex investors ruling, the court rejected a bid by former Authentinex investors to revalue their merger consideration as part of a private equity acquisition. And in the Williams Company poison pill case, the Delaware Supreme Court has said there are certain limits on measures companies' boards can take to preemptively prevent hostile takeovers. So, as usual, a big year from the Delaware Supreme Court. And finally, from Reuters, legislation in California is taking aim at algorithms used by Amazon and others to regulate and indeed run human relations in its warehouses, hire and fire employees, incentivize and discipline them. And this could be a very challenging time for Amazon based on the proposed legislation. I hope you have a both joyous and safe new year, and the Daily Compliance News will be back Monday, January 3rd, 2022. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.